Hello! Can you identify which biblical character is being described by a short physical or metaphorical description? Let's see. Question 1. Who was known as the bright and morning star? Was that Mary, Jesus, Lucifer, or John the Baptist? That was Jesus in Revelation 22. Question 2. Who was known as the voice of one crying in the wilderness? No multiple choice needed here. Yes, that was John the Baptist, referenced in Matthew chapter 3. Question 3. Who was known as a mighty hunter before the Lord? Was that Cush, Japheth, Nimrod, or Lamech? And that was Japheth in Genesis chapter 10. Question 4. Who was known as a rod out of the stem of Jesse? Was that King Hezekiah, Jesse himself, Jesus Christ, or King Uzziah? And that was Jesus Christ, according to Isaiah chapter 11. Question 5. Whom did Jesus call the generation of vipers? Was it the Jews, the Pharisees, the scribes, or the Sadducees? And that was the Pharisees in Matthew chapter 12. Question 6. Whom does Paul describe as my own son in the faith? Was that Onesimus, Titus, Timothy, or Eutychus? And that's Timothy, in 1 Timothy chapter 1. Question 7. Whom did Jesus call the salt of the earth? Was it his family, his disciples, the multitudes, or the Sadducees? And that was his disciples in Matthew chapter 5. Question 8. Who was called Son of the Morning? Was that Jesus Christ, Adam, David, or Lucifer? And that was Lucifer, according to Isaiah chapter 14. Question 9. Who was known as the last Adam? Was that Cain, Moses, Jesus, or Elijah? And according to 1 Corinthians chapter 15, the last Adam was Moses. Question 10. Who is described as perfect and upright, and one that feared God? Was that Solomon, Jesus, Job, or Jonah? And that was Job, according to the first chapter of Job. Question 11. Whose letters were powerful, but his bodily presence weak, and his speech contemptible? And the letter writer was Paul. You find that in 2 Corinthians. Question 12. Who was ruddy and withal of a beautiful countenance and goodly to look to? Now that was David, according to 1 Samuel chapter 16. Question 13. Who was red and like a hairy garment? Well, that was Esau in Genesis chapter 25. Question 14. Which angels had 6 wings? 2 to cover their face, 2 to cover their feet, and two to fly with? Was that the seraphim, the cherubim, the principalities, or the archangels? Well, that's the seraphim, and you'll find the description in Isaiah chapter 6. And question 15. Who had no beauty or majesty to attract us to him, nothing in his appearance that we should desire him? And yet we do. That's Jesus, according to Isaiah 53. Now, I love hearing from you in the comments and getting to know you regulars more. I wonder how people who know you best would describe you. Until next time, goodbye and God bless. Isaiah chapter 53. Who hath believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground. He hath no form nor comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows, and acquainted with grief. And we hid, as it were, our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he hath borne our griefs, and carried our sorrows. Yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned every one to his own way, and the Lord hath laid on him the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed, and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before her shearers is dumb, so he openeth not his mouth. He was taken from prison and from judgment. And who shall declare his generation? For he was cut off out of the land of the living. For the transgression of my people was he stricken. And he made his grave with the wicked, and with the rich in his death, because he had done no violence, neither was any deceit in his mouth. Yet it pleased the Lord to bruise him. He hath put him to grief. When thou shalt make his soul an offering for sin, he shall see his seed, he shall prolong his days, and the pleasure of the Lord shall prosper in his hand. He shall see of the travail of his soul, and shall be satisfied. By his knowledge shall my righteous servant justify many, for he shall bear their iniquities. Therefore will I divide him a portion with the great, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong, because he hath poured out his soul unto death. And he was numbered with the transgressors, and he bare the sin of many, and made intercession for the transgressors.